Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tara. And wow, Mike, do we ever have a wild ride for you today? From shocking power rankings in the Premier League to an NBA team pulling off a statistical anomaly that might break your brain, we've got a lot to unpack.
You're not kidding, Tara. I'm still trying to wrap my head around some of this data. But before we dive into the madness, let's start where the beautiful game is always a spectacle, La Liga.
Absolutely. And when you look at the Power Index top 5, it's Barcelona leading the charge with a comfortable 80.5 points. No surprise there. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They are just absolutely crushing it, showing why they're the team to beat right now.
Yeah, Barcelona is just doing Barcelona things. No major shocks there. But what is a shock, and honestly a point of contention for me, is Getafe sitting at number 2 with 60.5 points. Getafe? Above Real Madrid, who are third with 58.7? What gives, Tara?
I know, it raises an eyebrow, doesn't it? Real Madrid actually got a win, a 2-1 victory over Alaves, which is solid, especially since Alaves is actually in 4th in the Power Index. So Real Madrid is picking up points against a quality opponent. But Getafe has clearly been consistent enough to earn that number 2 spot in the Power Index, which measures overall performance, not just recent wins. They're grinding out results, maybe not with the flair of Real, but they're getting it done. It speaks to a level of disciplined play that's been rewarded over time.
Disciplined or lucky? I mean, Real Madrid, even with their injuries sometimes, they're Real Madrid. To be ranked below Getafe, it just feels off. Are we seeing a changing of the guard in the Spanish hierarchy, or is this just a temporary blip where Getafe is overperforming? I can't imagine them maintaining this kind of ranking deep into the season.
I think it's a blip for sure. Real Madrid's quality will shine through. Getafe might be having a moment, a fantastic run of form, but consistency over a whole season is a different beast. Speaking of beasts, or rather teams struggling to find their footing, Real Betis is on a brutal 6-game losing streak. That's just soul-crushing for their fans.
6 games? That's not just a slump, that's a full-blown crisis. And it's not like they're alone. Sevilla is also on a 5-game losing streak. What is happening in Spanish football right now with these major clubs just completely falling apart? Betis actually lost 3-2 to Girona in their last match, continuing the skid. It's hard to watch.
It really is. It points to deeper issues than just an off day. You don't get a 6-game losing streak without some fundamental problems, whether it's coaching, player morale, or just a really tough run of fixtures. And for Sevilla, it's a similar story. The pressure must be immense.
Absolutely. Moving across the channel, let's talk Premier League, where the surprises keep coming. Brighton and Hove Albion sitting atop the Power Index with a staggering 88.1 points, above Manchester City at 84.4 and Liverpool at 70.7. Is this real life? Brighton number 1?
I'm not gonna lie, Mike, I had to double check that. Brighton at number 1 is absolutely wild, but they've been playing some incredible football this season. Their strategy, their player development, it's all clicked into place. They're a joy to watch when they're on, and clearly the Power Index agrees. They just handed Chelsea a 3-0 defeat, showing they're not intimidated by the traditional giants. That's a statement win if I've ever seen one.
A 3-0 win over Chelsea is definitely a statement. But can they maintain this? Manchester City is breathing down their neck. We know what City is capable of in the second half of a season. And Liverpool, while a bit further back, you can never count them out. This top 5 is so tight, with Arsenal and Nottingham Forest also in the mix. It sets up for a fascinating title race.
It absolutely does. And while Brighton is flying high, we have to talk about Tottenham Hotspur. Another major club, another brutal 6-game losing streak. This is just devastating for a team with title aspirations at the start of the season. Their fans must be pulling their hair out.
Tottenham's 6-game skid is far worse than Betis's because of their expectations. They started the season with so much hype, and now they're just unraveling. It's the kind of collapse that costs managers their jobs. And Burnley, also on a 6-game losing streak, it seems like 6 is the magic unlucky number this week for streaks. It's a tough time for some clubs in both leagues.
It certainly is. From the woes of European football, let's jump over to the hardwood, where the NBA continues to deliver. The Oklahoma City Thunder are leading the Power Index at 74.2 points, followed closely by the New York Knicks at 71.2. Both teams have been on fire this season, showing incredible depth and resilience.
OKC and the Knicks at the top is a testament to strong coaching and breakout seasons for some key young players. But the game that caught my eye, Tara, was Philly beating Boston 111-97. That's a significant win against one of the league's perennial powerhouses. Boston looked dominant, but Philly clearly had their number.
That was a huge statement win for the 76ers. It shows they can go toe-to-toe with the best and come out on top, especially with their star players performing at an elite level. Another solid performance was the Lakers beating Houston 101-94. LeBron and AD are still getting it done, proving that experience can still win games in this young man's league.
No doubt about it, but we have to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the Atlanta Hawks. Tara, I need you to explain this to me. Their stat of the day says they shot 87% in March 2026, a jaw-dropping plus 19% versus their season baseline. What in the world happened in Atlanta in March?
Mike, I don't even know where to begin with the Hawks. It's not just a hot streak, it's a statistical anomaly. They went from 55% in February, which was actually below their season baseline, to an absurd 87% in March. 87%? Across 15 games? Are we sure they weren't playing with a larger hoop or something? This isn't just good shooting, this is literally breaking the game.
I mean, 87% field goal percentage for an entire month is unheard of. We're talking about every player, every shot practically going in. Was there a cosmic alignment? Did they discover some secret technique? And then to go to 50% in April, which is again below their season baseline. It's like they peaked for one glorious, impossible month and then came crashing back to earth. This is going to be talked about for years.
It absolutely will be. It's the kind of statistical outlier that makes you question everything you thought you knew about basketball. If a team can do that, even for a month, it changes the conversation entirely. Imagine if they hadn't maintained that in April. They'd be unstoppable. But clearly, whatever magic they had, it ran out. Still, it proves that on any given night, or in this case, any given month, truly historic things can happen.
Historic or just completely unexplainable? I'm leaning towards the latter. All right, let's switch from the court to the ice and hit the NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights are still leading the pack with 73.6 points, followed by the Hurricanes and, interestingly, the Utah Mammoth tied at 70.1.
Yeah, the Utah Mammoth making a significant statement by being up there with the Hurricanes. That's a new team, right? To perform at that level so quickly, it speaks volumes about their roster construction and coaching. They even beat Vegas 3-2 in their recent matchup, which is a huge win for them, proving they belong at the top.
It's fantastic to see the Mammoth making such an immediate impact. It adds another exciting dimension to the league. But let's talk about the Boston Bruins, because their trend is almost as wild as the Hawks, just in reverse. They posted a staggering 91% in January, crushing their season baseline by 30.9%. That's incredible.
And then what happened, Mike? January magic evaporated. By March, they were down to 54%, a 10.4% drop from their baseline. And in April, a brutal 33%, a 26.7% drop. What happened to the Bruins? They went from unstoppable force to completely unplayable in a matter of months.
It's a complete collapse, from historically good to historically bad in 3 months. Injuries, trade deadline blues, a full-blown locker room implosion. You don't see a drop-off that dramatic without some major underlying issues. They lost to Boston 4-2, which is just adding insult to injury for a team that started the year looking like cup contenders. It's a cautionary tale about how quickly momentum can shift in sports.
It certainly is. From ice to diamond, let's talk MLB. The Atlanta Braves are at the top of the power index with 68.4 points, which feels right. They're consistently a strong team. But then we have the Athletics and the Chicago Cubs tied at 63.7 points. The A's performing well is always a good story.
It is, especially with the Athletics showing consistent performance, going 63% in both March and April, outperforming their season baseline. It's a nice change of pace to see them having a strong start to the season. The Yankees also looked good, shutting out Boston 4-0. Nothing like a clean sweep against your arch rivals to boost morale.
No, there isn't. And speaking of big wins, the White Sox put up 11 runs against the Diamondbacks, winning 11-5. And our stat of the day highlights Sam Antonacci, who posted a 71.25 MLB rating in that game. He must have had an absolutely stellar performance to earn such a high individual rating.
He certainly did. That kind of rating points to a player who was exceptional in every facet of the game. It's great to see individual brilliance shining through in those high-scoring affairs.
Shifting gears to MLS, Real Salt Lake is dominating the power index with 80.9 points, a very strong start to their season. But on the other end of the spectrum, Austin FC is on a brutal 6-game losing streak. That's the worst in the league right now.
6 games again, Tara? It's contagious. Austin FC needs to figure something out, and fast. You also have Atlanta United, DC United, and LA Galaxy all on 4-game losing streaks. It seems like the losing bug is making its rounds through MLS this season. That's a lot of teams in a slump.
It really is. It's early in the season, but these trends can define a team's trajectory. Getting out of a 4 or 6 game losing streak takes a lot of mental toughness.
Finally, let's hit NCAA. The Michigan Wolverines are leading the power index at 80.3 points, with George Mason right on their heels at 79.6. That's a tight race at the top for college hoops.
It is, and George Mason being up there is fantastic for them. They're having a fantastic season. But the stat of the day for college basketball belongs to the UConn Huskies. They're 100% at home, outperforming their overall record by a staggering 25 points. That's a legitimate home court advantage. They turn into a completely different team when they're playing in front of their fans.
A 25-point swing at home is absurd. That's more than just a home crowd boost. That's like they have a secret weapon they only deploy on their own court. No wonder teams fear going there. Also, an interesting trend. Both Duke and Michigan games go under their average total 40% of the time. Suggests strong defense or slower offensive pace from two top teams.
Absolutely. It implies they play a more controlled, defensive-minded game, or just struggle a bit more in offense than their overall records might suggest.